Today, approximately 100 first responders are searching an area of approximately 320 acres, searching for evidence in connection to the missing person case of Layla Santanello.
A mom has been missing in Tennessee for months, and now it's being reported she may have had a mystery man on the side. We'll have a chance to speak with this woman's mother about her efforts to get her daughter back. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. We want to get into this story out of Tennessee. It's a really chilling one. A 21-year-old mother named Layla Santanello has been missing since June. Now, the last time that she was seen was at the Marble Slab Creamery in Kingston's East Stone Commons Shopping Center on June 27th. She was reportedly barefoot and was headed to a store to buy shoes, but she never did. Now, according to her stepmother, Layla disappeared a few days after getting into an apparent argument with her live-in boyfriend about possibly another man that she was seeing. The identities of these two people have not been publicly announced. But after this fight, she reportedly left, ran out of the home without any of her stuff, staying with friends. She maybe stayed with this other love interest. And we don't know so much of this, but what we do know is that 2 days before she vanished, she checked into a motel where witnesses were saying that she was going door to door, maybe got into an altercation with somebody. Now, all these months later, Layla, a mother of a 2-year-old daughter, has still not been found. I want to bring in right now a very special guest, Layla's mother, Jennifer Santanello. Jennifer, thank you so much for coming on here. I told you before we started, just let me tell you again, I know this is an incredibly difficult time for you and your family, and it's not easy. Hopefully, telling this story can make more people aware and help out in any way that they can. But I just want to thank you again for coming on to talk about that at this time.
No, thank you for having me.
I really want to start with this kind of newer update, this claim from Brittany Zeitler, Layla's stepmother, that Layla may have been seeing another man. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, there were a lot of rumors swirling around about what the argument might have been about. Some people said it was an argument over money. Um, some people said that he was telling her about herself and things like, you really need to get your stuff together. And I took credence to that one because that is something that my daughter would hear and get very stubborn about and be like, okay, fine, I'll get my stuff together. I'll show you, and walk out the door. She's a very stubborn person. This new allegation of a love interest, it's very new. Um, I'm not even sure exactly where it came from, so I can't really verify it. Um,
Have you
but
spoken to
it's not
Brittany
been.
about this? Like, how did she know, or why is she saying that there's maybe another person in Layla's life?
It seems to me that somebody on Facebook reached out to her with that information, but I've not been able to verify it myself. I don't know who that person was, and they apparently don't want to talk to me.
And any conversations you had with Layla indicating that she might have been seeing somebody other than her boyfriend?
No, it was actually quite a shock, that idea.
Mm.
She and her boyfriend were very codependent. They you never saw one without the other, like, ever. So when he reached out asking me if I knew if she was in jail or if I knew where she was, I was like completely thrown because she's always with him. So why are you asking me where she is? Because for the last almost 2 years, she's always with you. So I really didn't think that would have been an issue. There were some thoughts later on as time went by, like maybe she did meet somebody else and took off with them. It was kind of a hopeful thing, like maybe she just met somebody else and she doesn't want to be with him anymore, and she'll turn up as soon as she's ready to tell us all what happened.
And just to be clear, the relationship that Layla was in with her live-in boyfriend, this is one that you approved of or you didn't approve of?
It wasn't a healthy relationship. It was very codependent, slightly toxic, a little bit controlling. It was something that a lot of young women go through on their journey to find their person. I've had relationships like that when I was young. You have to learn from them and move on. My disapproval, I tried very hard not to harp on her about that. She really loved this man. Um, and she's a stubborn girl. So if I did bring up issues like, oh, that's concerning or that's a red flag, she would get upset with me. And so what I had to do was sort of try to guide and advise as best as I could without being pushy because I didn't want to push her away. Once they started dating, I did feel like she was already starting to isolate away from the family little by little over the 2 years. So I was very, very careful with how I addressed the situation with her.
Does this man, if you can, was he ever violent with Layla?
Not that I know of. I know that they argued a lot. I know there was a lot of verbal and mental stuff going on, but not that she has never said to me that he was physically violent with her.
Has anybody said anything to you that would indicate that he had some knowledge or involvement in what happened to Layla?
We all have our theories on that. I don't think he did anything directly to her. I sometimes feel like he might know more than what he's saying.
Do you know if police have spoken to him?
Oh, yeah. Multiple times. He's cooperated.
What is the latest in the police investigation? What have authorities been telling you?
Not a lot, actually. In the state of Tennessee, I guess it's illegal to discuss open investigations with anyone outside law enforcement. Early on, in the very first 4 to 5 weeks, she was considered a missing person. It was almost 5 weeks before they considered her a missing and endangered person. So in those 4 weeks, they were happy to update us, but then and this is my theory, this is my thoughts. No one has said this to me, but it almost seemed like whenever the endangered missing alert went up, that indicated that they believed something criminal was going on, and they kind of tightened up and quit giving us the regular updates. And I have conversations with them, but they stop short and say I can't go into that, or you know what I mean?
And just to be clear, with Layla, it wouldn't have been common for her to just disappear, walk off, right?
No, no. Maybe for a few days, maybe to go
Mm-hmm.
clear her head. Or, I mean, that first week I was in denial. I 100% expected her to walk through my door. 100%. This really didn't seem like it was real. And here we are 5 months later.
It's unimaginable. It's really unimaginable, and I can't tell you how sorry I am. My understanding though, what was the last conversation you had with Layla? You mentioned that her boyfriend reached out to you. That's how you found out that she was missing. He thought that she might have been in jail, was asking you where she was, and then you reached out to Layla, right?
Yes. Well, he messaged me from her Facebook Messenger account, which I found strange. And then I asked questions. Why would she be in jail? What are you talking about? Why is she not with you? What's going on? And he never responded. Okay. So I went to bed. I go to bed early. I get up really early. I go to bed. And when I wake up in the morning, I have a message from Layla from her Facebook Messenger account. And it just says, I'm okay. So I immediately, oh, thank God, what's going on? Why does he think you were in jail? And she gives me these very short answers, which is not like her. She normally is much more descriptive. And she just, I'm okay. Don't worry. I don't know why he thought that. I'm with a friend. I don't have a phone. I had to borrow someone's phone to log in. And I was like, all right, and I'm thinking her boyfriend has access to this account. She doesn't want to say too much. This is my opinion, my theory. So she just gives me these short answers. I don't want to say too much and cause any problems between the two of them. So I'm like, okay, you be safe and I love you. And the last thing she said to me was, I love you even more. And I put my phone down and went about my day, expecting a phone call at some point for her to call and tell me what was happening. and the call never came.
Do you think that wasn't her messaging you?
I thought that for a long time. I wondered that for a very long time. There are ways to verify through Facebook what device was used and where. And unless somebody went from here to there, logged into somebody else's phone, and logged back out, and then went home and started texting me as the boyfriend, it's most likely her. Like 90% sure.
Are you
Someone would
still
have to go through a whole lot of trouble.
are you
Sorry.
no, are you still in contact with the boyfriend? Are you talking to him regularly about what's happening, or has he reached out to you?
Yeah, here and there. Been a very difficult situation. There's been a lot of emotions and a lot of, you know, people want to blame. They want to blame each other. They want to have somebody to blame. There's, been some arguments. I try to avoid conflict with him. Um, I recently, well, a couple of months ago now, gosh, time's been flying so fast, emptied out Layla's storage unit and some of his things were in it. So I had reached out to him, do you want your clothes? Do you want your shoes? Like, I've got these boxes of things for you. And so most of our conversations lately have been about planning to meet so we can trade because he's got some of Layla's stuff as well.
The I mentioned how there were reports that before she vanished, she had been at a hotel, or she was wandering around this shopping center barefoot looking to buy shoes. Does any of that make sense to you? Do you have any? Can you
No.
what that might mean?
Mm. There are so many things about that last day that don't make any sense, that aren't like her, that are way out of character. Um, she was at that hotel acting strangely, acting afraid. She apparently forgot what room she was visiting and was knocking on random people's doors. And people offered her help. Do you need to call someone? Do you need a ride somewhere? And she said no and went on, continued back out to the parking lot. And sort of, they said that she was kind of hiding in the shadows a little bit.
Mm.
There's been a lot of different theories as to why that was. Some people say that it was because management told her she was causing a ruckus and they were going to kick her out if she didn't stop, and she was trying to stay inconspicuous. I don't know. And then at one point, the police did pull in, and they were going somewhere else on the property that had nothing to do with her, but she, I guess, panicked and took off running. And what there's behind that hotel, there's these woods and then this big long field. And after the fact, we discovered that there is, like, I guess the homeless will go out there and like sleep in the summertime. There was like blankets and pillows from the hotel that people had drug out to sleep on the ground. And we believe she spent the night out there in those woods, which was like devastating to me when I heard it, because it's so unlike her to not call. The fact that she did not call before sleeping in the woods absolutely broke my heart.
My understanding is you've hired a private detective to get some more information. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes.
Has that helped? Have you learned anything that you haven't learned from law enforcement?
The PI has been very, very helpful, but he has asked me not to share his
Sure.
investigation. He has been helpful and he has discovered a few different things, but I'm not at liberty to discuss them.
Completely understand. Going back again to this potential mystery man, right? This again. Have you spoken to Brittany about it? And also, has law enforcement been updated about this? Are they now looking into this potential mystery individual?
I have not spoken to Brittany directly about it. I have spoken to some of Layla's friends trying to figure out who it was that gave Brittany the information, but I haven't spoken directly to Brittany about it, no.
And law enforcement, you don't know if they're looking into who this could be or what's going on with that, right?
I'm sure they are.
Okay.
I'm sure they are. They're not going to tell me exactly what they're doing, but I'm
Yep.
sure that they're looking into it.
I wanted to ask you, Jennifer, how people can help, and I want to be clear about how people can really help you, because I've also understood that you and Brittany have also received what was really a sick hoax. People requesting
Yeah.
money from a Cash App from your daughter's account. It turned to be like a really, really horrible hoax or prank. I don't know what you even want to call it. It was really disturbing. I don't know if you want to talk about that, but I want you to tell me also and tell all of us, how can we help you in any way?
For starts, I would call the Cash App situation more of a scam.
Yep.
Someone realized that they had access to her Cash App account, and a couple weeks after she went missing, started sending ransom messages and requests for money. And we went through weeks of not knowing who it was or whether or not my daughter was on the other end. Early on, I asked a lot of like particular questions that would have been answered if it was her, if she was on the other side of this thing, like being held. And when those particular questions were ignored and not answered, I was like, okay, it's not her. If it's her and she really wants to come home, she's going to tell me what her baby brother's middle name is. And that's just the reality of the situation. But this person did continue to engage with us and did say some awful, awful, awful things that they wanted to do to her if we didn't send the money. And it was just a really ugly and unfortunate added pain to the entire situation.
Yeah.
This person thought that they could gain something out of our pain and our emotional issue. So
How can people really help you?
share her face. Share her face. I don't believe that she is no longer on this earth. I think she's out there somewhere, and whether she's been taken by force or by emotional manipulation, someone's not letting her talk to me some way or another. And I really do believe she's out there somewhere.
I hope so too. I hope so too. What by the way, what is Layla like? You know, we always talk about, who is she? What's she like? What's her personality? I mean, you kind of gave us an indication that these short answers weren't really her, but moreover, just who is she as a daughter, as a friend, as a mother?
She's got this big energy. She has this huge, larger than life, super extra personality. She is creative and she's just a big ball of light. She's sassy and has an attitude, and she's strong, and she's so stubborn. And I've said this 1,000 times, her stubbornness and her insistence on having what she wants when she wants it terrified me for most of her life.
Right.
She was fearless. As a child, she would go and jump off cliffs and like do all these crazy things, absolutely no fear. So when they said that she was running around looking scared and acting scared, it definitely did not sound like the person that I raised, you know?
How is her daughter doing?
She's thriving. She's doing very well. She's just 2.5, and she doesn't really know exactly what's going on. She spent a lot of time here up until Layla's disappearance anyway, so it's not like a huge difference, but she does ask after her mother, and she's 2, so I can't really explain the situation just yet. I'm hoping that we find her before I have to.
That's what we hope to. Jennifer Santanello, thank you so much for coming on. I am wishing for a safe return to Layla, to you, to your family, to her daughter. And hopefully people will see this and can provide some helpful information to you. But I'm just wishing all the best to you and your family. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
By the way, if you want to learn more information about the search for Layla or help donate to the cause, here's a link to a fundraiser that has been set up by the family. Hope everybody can help out. And that is all we have for you right now here on Sidebar, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Jesse Weber. Speak to you next time.